So let's talk about something that's on a lot of developers' minds lately: Python supply chain security. But look, this isn't going to be some dry, theoretical lecture. Think of this as a practical conversation, a guide to building a real fortress around your code. We'll start with some really simple steps you can take, like today, to defend against some very real and honestly very clever attacks.
I want you to just imagine this for a second. You're at your terminal, you run a pip install, a command you probably typed thousands of times, but this time, something's different. Without any warning, without a single error message, you've just opened the door and let malware walk right into your project. Now, this isn't some made-up scare tactic. It's a direct quote from a developer who actually lived through this. And the scariest part? It happens in complete silence.
And this isn't hypothetical. The Ultralytics compromise was a massive wake-up call for so many of us. We're talking about a huge computer vision library used by tons of people, and attackers figured out how to sneak malware into it. And how did they do it? Not with some complex, sophisticated exploit. Nope. They used the humble pip install command through a simple typo squatting attack. It was just enough to trick developers into installing a malicious version of the library.
So this number, over 743,000, what is that? Well, that's how many packages are on the Python package index, or PyPy. On one hand, that is amazing. It's a huge testament to the power of open source. But on the other hand, you have to realize that's also a massive, and I mean massive, attack surface. Every single one of those packages is a potential entry point for an attacker into your system.
And that brings us to what I like to call the hidden dependency problem. It's kind of like inviting a friend over for dinner, but they show up with 6 other people you've never met before. You thought you were just installing Flask, right? But Flask needs Jinja 2, and Jinja 2 needs Markup Safe. And suddenly, your one simple install has pulled in a whole bunch of other packages you've probably never even heard of. And if just one of them has a vulnerability, well, your house isn't so secure anymore.
Okay, so what do we do about this? What's the solution? Well, it actually comes from a military strategy called defense in depth. The idea is simple. There is no single silver bullet. There's no one magic tool that fixes everything. Instead, we're going to build layers of defense. So if one layer fails, another one is right there to catch the attacker. And our first layer, well, it's the code we have the most control over, our own.
Our first line of defense is a linter. Honestly, think of it like having an incredibly sharp senior developer looking over your shoulder 24/7. It automatically scans your code and catches common security mistakes before you even commit them. It's faster than a human, way more thorough, and it never, ever gets tired. And the stuff it catches is the kind of stuff that causes major headaches. Hard-coded API keys? That's basically like leaving your house key under the doormat. Using an old broken algorithm like MD5, you might as well be using a padlock from the 1990s. Forgetting to add timeouts to your requests? That's a wide-open invitation for a denial of service attack. These aren't just abstract risks, they are the root cause of so many data breaches. All right, so layer 1 is about securing our own code. That's a great start. But what about all that code we didn't write? You know, all those third-party libraries we pull in. This right here is where the real danger often lies. It's where most supply chain attacks actually begin. So, how you define your dependencies is absolutely critical. Just saying you want Flask version 2.0 or greater, well, that's risky. It means you'll get the latest version, even if that latest version was uploaded by an attacker. The gold standard is what we call hash pinning. It's like taking a unique cryptographic fingerprint of the exact file you know is safe. If anyone tries to tamper with that file, even by a single byte, the fingerprint won't match, and the installation will just fail. It's that simple, and it's incredibly powerful. But what happens if an attacker doesn't just tamper with a package, but steals a maintainer's password and publishes a malicious version themselves? How can you be sure that the code you're about to run is the real deal, that it really comes from who you think it does? This brings us to our third layer, authenticity. You know, the old way of publishing packages involved using these long-lived API tokens. It was kind of like having one single key that could unlock your entire digital life. And if an attacker got a hold of it, they had permanent access. The new way with trusted publishing is totally different. It's more like a one-time use keycard that basically self-destructs after it's used once. Even if an attacker somehow got it, it would expire in minutes. There's just nothing left for them to steal. And all of this is possible because of a technology called OpenID Connect, or OIDC. The simplest way to think about it is like a digital notary. It provides a secure, cryptographic way to prove that a package came from a very specific, trusted source, like your GitHub Actions workflow. and that it hasn't been messed with along the way.
Okay, but let's be really honest here. None of these solutions are a magic fix. As the author of the article this is all based on says, nothing here is perfect. And that's true. Every single layer of our defense has its own limitations, its own weaknesses, which is exactly why we need all of them working together.
For example, hash pinning is fantastic, but it can't protect you if the package you pinned was malicious from the very beginning. And vulnerability scanners, they're essential, but they can only find known vulnerabilities, not brand new zero-day exploits. And even trusted publishing, it proves where the code came from, but it can't guarantee the code is safe to run. See, this is why we need a layered defense. This is why we have to think like an attacker.
I know this can all sound like a lot to take in, but here's the really good news. You can dramatically, and I mean dramatically, improve your security with just 2 commands. That's it, just 2. Let's walk through them right now.
Okay, first step, install Rough and just run it on your code base. It's going to find a whole class of security bugs in minutes. It's a huge quick win. Second step, use a tool like UV, which is a new, really fast package installer, to pin all of your dependencies with hashes. With just those 2 commands, you've already built a solid foundation for a much more secure development workflow.
And by taking just those 2 simple steps, you've already put a layered defense into practice. You've got prevention with your linter, you've got control with your hash pinning, and now you're in a great position to start thinking about detection and response with things like vulnerability scanners and SBOMs, which are basically just a list of all the ingredients in your software.
So here's the bottom line. The tools to properly secure your Python projects are here. They're mature, they're available right now, and most of them are free and easy to use. The only thing stopping you is just getting started. So the only real question left is, when will you?